Hi, welcome guys. What we're going to do this morning is take time to go over the benchmark for benchmark test number 4. Okay, so here we have our terms and our study guide. So each of you should have one of these study guides able. And what I want you to do is just record along with me your answers on your paper. Record your answers on your paper. Of course, you feel free to pause the video at any time you need to, or back it up or something if we end up going a little too fast for you. So we're going to be talking about each of these, some of these a little more than others. And of course, we'll write the answer down, and then some of them, like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about. But any of these questions could be on the benchmark test. All right. So start off with our vocabulary. What is a non-renewable resource? These are resources that are not replenished in a timely manner. Okay, so some of these are going to be, could be replenished, but it would take thousands of years to do that. So they're not replenished in a timely manner. Black lung disease, this is a disease from coal dust. So breathing in too much coal dust gets in your lungs, and it creates what we call black lung disease. All right, hydraulic fracturing. This is a process of breaking or fracking rock. And we break that rock, and the type of rock we're breaking is a shale, all right? And that produces and releases natural gases. A fracking fluid is water and chemicals used to break the rock, all right? We'll talk about some problems with that fracking fluid a little later in our notes. Ash storage pond, this is storage of ash or coal power plants. All right, so as you burn coal, you're going to produce an ash, and that ash we got to do something with that ash, okay? So do some type of storage, and that's right now we're storing it at an ash storage pond. We mix it with water and store it there. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about that. What are the 3 non-renewable fossil fuels? So here we have a list of energy sources, and of course, oil, natural gas, and coal are our 3 non-renewable fossil fuels. Nuclear energy is a non-renewable, but it is not a fossil fuel, okay? All right, what organisms or organic matter gave to the rise of coal? This would be plants, gave life to coal. What organisms or organic matter gave rise to petroleum? This is the marine life. And the dinosaurs and all that. We only in our class talked about how marine life affected that. Okay. Identify the 4 methods of coal mining. So what I want to make sure we're understanding here is that coal is a solid. And so what we have to do is we have to mine or dig that solid out of the ground. All right, and we can do the 4 methods: open pit, mountaintop, and removal. And we are actually blasting and removing the top of that mountain. We got strip mining, and then underground or subsurface, underground or subsurface mining, okay? What substances are released into water during acid mine drainage? So what happens is if we have this hill or mine, and in that mine is a coal shaft. So what happens is the water trickles down into that. When it mixes with that coal, it comes out as acid mine drainage. And so it comes out acidic. It is metallic because of the coal properties and the other minerals that are in the mine that dissolve in the water. And then it is also toxic to the animals and different things around that area. All right, so one of the big environmental risks to coal mining is how we mine it, and then the water that gets in that mine and then runs back out is contaminated. Explain why the environmental damage caused by an oil spill is so much greater than if something similar happened to coal. Well, the answer to that is oil is a liquid. Okay, and so if you spill a solid versus spilling a liquid. So the liquid, if spilt, let's see here, it would soak into the environment, and the liquid also would cover a large area. All right, so if you spill a solid up here, if you spill coal that's a solid, it's just going to fall out of the truck. You get your shovels and your dump trucks and you go clean it up. But if you spill a liquid, that liquid's going to spread out over a larger area, and then you're going to have to also, it soaks into. So it's a lot trickier to clean up. What are two potentially environmental side effects to hydraulic fracturing? So what are some things that happen with coal? So up here we're talking about problems with coal. Okay. Now we're talking about a problem with oil. And now we're looking at problem with hydraulic fracturing. So coal, oil, natural gas. And we're trying to address those issues there. So two of the big problems that occur with fracturing or natural gas consumption using that is large amounts of water. Large amounts of water being used to fracture the rock. We're talking millions of gallons. Number two, then we have the waste water runoff. So we're pumping large amounts of water into this rock to break it, and then that water has to come back out somewhere, and that's the wastewater runoff. It comes back contaminated with minerals and acidity and all kind of different things. All right, go back up now. Ash, this ash refers back to coal. So what do we do with the waste from a coal power plant? Well, on the short term, it is stored in an ash pond. And then the long term, we're looking at landfill. And we use it in some other products like asphalt. So some of that short term is stored in an ash pond. Then we're trying to find other use for it, like asphalt and so forth. What are some common applications of these energy sources? So for coal, we're mostly producing electricity. We're heating water to turn a turbine to produce electricity. Oil is for transportation. And then natural gas is heating. So we use that to heat our homes and cook food. But we also use it for electricity. Okay? No one's, well, I won't say no one, but we don't normally use coal to heat our homes. All right? We don't burn oil to heat our homes, but we do burn natural gas to heat our homes. We don't burn natural gas to drive our cars down the road for transportation. So these are the main uses of each of these. All right, so let's look at some cost analysis ideas for the different types of fossil fuels. So the cleanest burning fossil fuel, if you had to choose one, natural gas. All right. The reserve to production ratio. So which one has the most reserves to what we can produce? And that would be coal. The lowest would be oil. All right. The greatest number of products and applications. Oil has lots of products. So oil, we use it for different types of fuel, jet fuel, car fuel. We have waxes and we get asphalt. A lot of products that come out of crude oil. The highest EROI would be oil. The lowest, natural gas. And then finally, most likely to spill and transport is oil. So you want to go back and be sure you can connect those there. Which fossil fuel has the most years in reserves? Okay, so that would be coal. And it's estimated that coal is about 152 years. And then we have oil and gas and natural gas. Both of those are about 50 years. So one of them is 50 and one of them is 52, but basically about 50 years between those two. What percentage of energy comes from fossil fuels? So coal is about 50% of our electricity, and our energy comes from burning coal. There's only a small percentage of oil being burned, and then natural gas is about 6%. All right, and then finally, number 13, make a claim about the sustainability of fossil fuels. So I'm not going to try to write an answer to that, but what I want you to think about is how all of these work together to produce the sustainability. In other words, if it's only 50, if we're 50% of our electricity comes from it, and we only got 152 years left, we might want to take into consideration what's going on. Is it sustainable? If we're burning so much coal, and coal requires us to mine and underground mining and open pits and all that mining, what's the environmental issues there? So we want to take into consideration those. All right, guys, so that's video 1, and that covers our benchmark number 4 for fossil fuels.